Hi guys, it's Mrs. Young. I'm here on my front porch because it's nice out, and I thought I'd take some time and read you a story. This is called Fairy House. It's even signed by the author, by Tracy Kane. This summer, take two. This summer, my parents decided we should leave the city and spend a week on a small island off the coast of Maine. They said that there was something special for me on the island, something I would really like, but they wouldn't tell me what it was until I got there. As soon as we got off the boat, I tried to guess, is it the lighthouse, the seals, those silly sandpipers on the beach, our cottage? Later, when we went for a walk in the woods by our cottage, I discovered the secret my parents had been keeping. Hopefully you can see the pages. Fairy houses. People had built small houses for fairies to live in. You may build houses small and hidden for the fairies, but please do not use living or artificial materials. So there's the sign in the woods. And there's an example. I asked if I could build a fairy house. My dad said yes, as long as I followed the rules of the woods. I scouted out places that would be just right for a fairy house. I chose a hollow tree at the base of an oak tree and collected some twigs, some leaves, and pieces of bark to build with. I finished the inside with a floor of dry grass and made a roof with fallen leaves. I hoped the fairies would choose my house for a place to live in. The next morning, I couldn't wait to visit the woods again to see if anyone might be sleeping inside my house. When I bent down to look, I heard chirping. Was a fairy snoring? Hey, you're not a fairy, I said. You're a cricket. The cricket hopped off into a bush full of bright red berries. Maybe the fairies would like some to eat, I thought. I gathered a handful of berries from the ground and sprinkled them around my house. The following day, after visiting the lighthouse with my parents, I decided to check on my fairy house. A pair of finches were carrying the last of the berries away in their beaks. Searching the ground for more berries, I came to a small stream. The sound of the trickling water gave me an idea. I took some stones from my pack that I had found near the lighthouse and arranged them in a circle near my fairy house. Then I filled the circle with some water from the stream, in case the fairies got thirsty or wanted to take a bath. Anybody here? I whispered the next day. At first, the house looked empty. Then I spied someone in the pool. I wanted to get a closer look at the frog as he bathed. Oops, I guess I got too close. As the frog leaped away, I could hear other frogs singing out to him. I started singing myself as I got to work collecting acorns and pine cones. It was time to make some home improvements. There's the frog. When I came back the next afternoon, I saw a squirrel nibbling on the nuts, but no fairies in sight. I just couldn't give up. I still hoped the fairies would visit my house. Maybe it needed a better entrance. In my pack were seashells and feathers my mom had found at the beach. I decorated the path leading up to the door. I thought about adding my shiny bracelet to one of the shells, hoping to catch a fairy's attention, but then I remembered the rules of the woods. The next morning, I got up very early when my parents were still asleep and tiptoed out of our cottage and into the woods. This was the day we would be leaving the island, so I had one last chance to visit my fairy house. A fog had rolled in off the ocean, covering the woods like a thick blanket. I could barely see. It was like walking in a cloud. The trees seemed huge, and their branches looked like arms reaching out to grab me. Goosebumps popped all over my arms and legs. Someone was watching me, I was sure. Should I turn around and run? But my fairy house was so close. It was then I heard footsteps and saw a large, dark shape moving towards my fairy house. My heart started thumping. I jumped behind a tree to hide. I caught my breath. It was a deer licking the salty seashells. I stood perfectly still as she made her way lazily through the woods and then vanished into the mist. I don't know if any of you have seen a deer out in your yards. I know I have. Exhausted, I sat down near my fairy house, watching and waiting and wishing for fairies to appear. The quiet of the woods and the soft mist made me sleepy. My eyelids felt very heavy. I tried not to fall asleep. Before long, the sun started breaking through the mist, and with it came a soft breeze. Kristen, the breeze seemed to whisper in my ear. Kristen, wake up. We can only stay a moment. Struggling to open my eyes, I saw a bright beam of light and a tiny smiling face. We are the fairies who live up in the spirits of all the plants and animals in these woods, a voice said. Of all the houses here, the animals have chosen yours to visit. You've treated the woods with care and respect. Look quickly, Kristen, for this is a moment of magic when the fairies will show themselves as a way of thanking you. As the late morning sun started breaking through the mist, light beams illuminated the fairies. They sparkled like jewels. They became so bright I had to close my eyes. When I opened my eyes, the fairies had changed into beautiful monarch butterflies. Butterflies fluttered around me like a great orange cloud, following me to the edge of the woods, where the sun shone brightly. I watched them dancing towards the light higher and higher, squinting into the warm golden day. I smiled and waved as the last butterfly disappeared into the sky. Shh, over here. Turn this page and see some tips on how to make your own fairy house. I'm going to pause for just a second.